Every boss defeated, every secret uncovered, every achievement gained. When I picked up Sea of Stars, I thought I would be good enough to scratch my itch for an RPG. Now after 56 hours of game time and putting my head through walls, I finished it all. Earning me all its achievements where one little thing nearly broke me, but about that later. For those who don't know about Sea of Stars, it's a turn-based RPG from the Sabotage Studio, the team behind The Messenger. You play as two Celestis warriors, Valere and Zale, who combine their power to cast Eclipse magic to fight an evil alchemist, also known as the Fleshmancer. And as you seamlessly travel through the world, you see how they modernized the classic RPG in so many different ways, while still offering nostalgia to the 90s era. With the game and the goal of 100% clear, I started a new file. It begins with the archivist introducing the story before letting me begin the journey on the mountain trail, which goes to a pause as they rest at a campfire and start going down memory lane. Valere, Zale and their friend Gal are dreaming of adventures together in their hideout as bells start ringing announcing the return of the current Celestis warriors Alina and Burgess. This night also happens to be a full moon, increasing the power of moon magic. The kids used it to enter the forbidden cave, which is obviously forbidden, so what's the worst that can happen? Getting surrounded or even losing an eye? It's both. Gal loses an eye, the headmaster arrives, stops the monsters, gets Gal treated and takes the Celestis children to the academy to start their training. During the time in the academy they also suit a magic cloth, which is essential to use powers, and with it finally being finished, they do the final test to get sent off to their great adventure. It starts in the Forbidden Cave. The enemies fall, chests open, combos unlock, and the first achievement pops up with the defeat of the boss. Out of the cave, back to where the new fight started. In present time, Gal jumps out the bush and surprising the others, joining them on their adventure. With sunrise, the journey to the Elder Mist continues, looking to become Celestis warriors by learning the way of using magic without using magic, to then continue to Wraith Island in time for the eclipse. We climb the mountain and meet the Elder Mist. At first he didn't understand a human like Gal being here, but Gal convinces the Elder to let him join his friends in the trial. In the trial I need to retrieve an object from each of the 3 rooms. After learning how to use magic without using magic, I clear the outside rooms of the enemies and obtain the desired objects. The last room then has me answer questions about the story before letting me pick up the last object. With all 3 objects obtained, I meet the Elder Mist again and he starts a fight as he takes over the objects. In this fight I focus the sword so it breaks down for a couple rounds in which I can attack him freely, to the point where I can even collect 2 more achievements before ending the fight. We earn the title of Celestis Warriors and learn how to change the sun and moon positions as I stand on ruins using my powers. After crossing over we get told we are being sent to the Sleeper Island, where we should make friends with people bound to adventure to make it in time. Garden just repeats after the Elder Mist and sends us flying before he can finish. As I traverse down this mountain I want to mention achievements involved with looting. I basically won't mention every pickup even if it's related to an achievement, so I will just list them real quick. It's 7 achievements in total, be it combo scrolls, rainbow conches and even fishing, and luckily most of them are part of opening all chests. We walk into Teeks, a historian who is more than happy to meet adventurers. Gal invites her to eat dinner with us, where she asks us to collect artifacts for her. We agree, and come next morning she joins the party as cargo. Then we arrive at the stonemason outpost, where we quickly get to know that the wind tunnels are blocked, which means that the sleeper could wake up any moment, bringing panic to the people. For me, the blocked wind tunnels just mean the elevator doesn't work, stopping me from descending the mountain. To continue my journey I go down the mines. Besides meeting the hiding elder, I find the first blocked tunnel. I cleared, letting the elder go back up as I go deeper down, finding a bracelet to create bursts of wind before scaring away a salamander. I then clear the other two airways. Before leaving the mines, I go and make sure the tunnels are not getting blocked again by meeting up with Malkmont, who is responsible for that in the first place. It turns out the salamander we scared off is pet, and now he wants to fight. We beat up both of them before they unite to one target. After a couple more blows, Gal decides to talk with them and clear everything up. Outside, Gal then gives some stern words to the people before leaving with the elevator. We come past the pens and waterfalls and arrive at Hawthorne Brisk. Down at the docks, we talk to a pirate crew who are willing to take us to Brave Island, but only if I bring them something first. I meet them in the tavern and learn that they want me to get a coin of Undeath Accord from an old lab in the north of this island. The pirate crew helps us in, and we find a construction where I can place different crystals to create different colored portals. In those rooms I either find new crystals or a button to open a new slot for a crystal. With the power of the RGB crystals I open the white portal which leads to the Shadow Realm where the chromatic apparition is summoned. And there it is destroyed. I then grab the coin and go back to the docks. Next to the big ship, I talk with the pirate crew in hopes to finally make it to Brave Island. As we now travel over sea on a raft, we see the legendary Vespertine appear at sunset, the ship the pirate crew wants to trade the coin for. Docking on Brave Island, it doesn't take me long to arrive in the town of Lucent, where we stay in the tavern as we wait for the eclipse. During the first couple of days nothing happens, until one evening where a loud noise echoes through the town and the person stands up and leaves. As all the others just ignore it, we stand up and blindly follow them through the forest to where we reach the mansion's gate. There we try to stop them, but a power pushes us off. The power, being angered, plays the sound again, hypnotizing Gal. Gal, being temporarily paralyzed, stops him and lets the mysterious person join us for the mission of getting a soul stone to break the hypnotization. We bring Gal back to the tavern where we learn the mystery person's name and where to go. At the ferryman's dock, Sarah gives away a coin of Undeath Accord. In the flooded graveyard, I walked into the graveyard keeper a couple of times, telling me over and over again to turn back until I reach the entrance of the Mistress Lair, where he tries to stop me with force but stops before he dies. In the Necromancer's Lair, I need to collect 3 green glowing skulls to open the main door. I get the first skull from the Revenant in front of the door. Taking to the right, I find this game's grappling hook, and with it I get to the second Revenant. On the left I get to the final Revenant that opened the door. Behind the store I meet Romaya, who at first doesn't want to cooperate, so we start a fight and beat her to the point of giving up. Then take the soulstone as well as a green flame and make the way back to Gal. In the tavern, Zero disappears as Gal gets cured. At the same time the others arrive in the tavern, and with the eclipse approaching we go to the mansion. As Lester's warriors and Gal get inside, and with the headmaster's plan the group splits up. Right after the split, Zero joins us, and as I'm clearing the safe room I pop another achievement. After that I solve 4 puzzles and get to the garden. There I then defeat 2 sprouts to enter the greenhouse, where I finish my task in defeating the botanical horror. Everyone gets back together in the entrance hall as the headmaster opens the door to the Dweller. With Gal on the sidelines, all the warriors start blasting spells into the old lady, but the Dweller doesn't take a scratch. With the need of more eclipse light, the headmaster sends Gal up on the roof, and Gal delivers, blowing up nearly the entire roof. Now with the Dweller's true form revealed, we can properly damage him to where he breaks down to its core. Vergis then gets closer to the cleansing of it. Sarah appears and attacks him and exposes both of them as traitors. Elena puts up a wall as the 4 Fleshmancer acolytes step out, forcing the traitors to the deal by resurrecting the Dealer of Strife with a blood moon. We return to the tavern, letting the headmaster rest. The headmaster still needing to rest stays in bed as I go to Brisk. After arriving, I clear the town of the Fleshmancer monsters and gather the people at the docks and bringing them hope of a new start. With the raft not able to bring all those people to safety, we decide to get to Vespertine this dusk. On the mountain cliff, the pirate captain reveals to the main group that they are Serai. As dusk arrives, we take the jump onto the Vespertine, and just as we land, it goes back to the Sea of Nightmares. On the ship I deliver the map from below the deck to Hortense, the navigator. Since we don't have the coin anymore, I need to defeat the ship's captain, who is hiding on an island, protected by a shield. To break the shield, I go and destroy 3 different power sources on different islands. With the barrier down, we set sail to the Stormcaller's island and confront him on top of his mountain. As I start to overcome him, he summons his dragon to the fight to deal big damage to everyone. With my final blow on the pirate captain, I create a tidal urging me to run back to the ship and leave the Sea of Nightmares. By defeating the Stormcaller, we not only got the Vespertine, but also freed Hortense, who happily joined the pirate crew. Now with the big ship we go to Brisk, where some people already started rebuilding it, so some still wanted to stay, and for the rest we got on the Vespertine and made our way to an island where Gal directs the building and cooking for the new town. The town is built and the name is missing, so everyone pushes Gal into naming it, and he names it Murph. The day it's time to get going again, the headmaster arrives and tells us he retired from his position and there's no more rain. In new free time, Gal gets him to become the town elder. Before my departure, I talk with one more person who is willing to build interactive houses if we bring a blueprint and a person to run it, but I will do that on the side. Now I continue the story in the jungle where 1 and 3 stand before me, but they had nothing against a barrage from a ship. And with them out the way, I arrive at Lake Lucaria. In a shell house, Gal picks a shell. With it I then went to a secret grove where it got the power of letting me breathe underwater and basically teach me dive. Diving in the lake brings me to Lucaria village. There I meet Mira, a child who trades me her goods for rainbow conches. After dealing with her, I meet the Oracle of Tides, who tells Gal to ask for a flask of borrowed time when the moment comes. He then tells me to go check out the tower of End Studio. Nothing really happens in the tower until I reach the very top, where behind the door the archivist was already waiting. After all, he is also known to be an all-knowing alchemist, but wants to be called Roshan. He wants me to go through his portal to the glacial peak and retrieve an artifact. As I am searching for it, I run into the other acolytes and beat them up as well. I then arrive at the ice block with the artifact and retrieve it after breaking the ice. With this amulet I now can change the position of the sun and moon without the need of a rune. I then return to Roshan, who gives us another task. He now wants me to return his vial of time, which just needs to cleansing of a dweller which hides inside Torment Peak, and to be safe from his mind manipulation we get a potion to drink. Hydrated and safe, I enter Torment Peak. Inside I fight my way through Fleshman's creatures and find a room with baby gorillas. They talk about their mom and how people do not return from seeing her, so So we go to investigate the area and find the mother bound to the wall so the babies would stay close to the dweller to lure in. Zero has a plan to help with the fight and tells us to go ahead fight. Find the dweller in the next room and start the fight with no impact. With the light it doesn't take long to take down the dweller of torment and cleansing them. The gorilla and her kids get out to live in the jungle, but the mother is nice enough to throw up the crystal so I can reveal the secret area with the vial of time. When I return it, he finally joins the party and with him we make our way to Mesa Island. There Rashaan naively trusts Scar to handle talking with the giant, but he fails and needs Rashaan to reset. Scar then gets it on the second try. On the mountain I encounter a guy with a flute who gives me a riddle, which results in a fight with a leaf monster who ends up burned. I then walk through Songshrew Marsh where I meet Yomara, the nice sister of Thrones. He gives me the key for Clockwork Castle and tells Rashaan a prophecy before sending us off. At the gates of Clockwork Castle, the traitors meet me in an attempt to stop me, but they stood no chance in the 2v2 and left. Inside I find more of the Fleshmancer's creature as I make my way up where I reach a workshop. At first I thought those are dwarves working, but they turn out to be 10-year-olds stuck in time in this castle. That doesn't change the fact that they are very smart since they theorize a machine capable of capitalizing eclipse light into a weapon, and after testing it they want to build a bigger version to help us. But not able to open the door, I go up to see the Watchmaker for the key, which luckily falls from the ceiling after she refuses to hand it over directly. Back in the workshop, they have already built the weapon and are ready to sneak it by as we fight the acolytes on the other side of the door. We enter and confront them as the others sneak by. I start taking them out one by one, but after taking them all out, the Wheel of Strife frees itself. We run after it over the roofs of the castle and create an eclipse while doing so. As we fight it on the tower, we charge the weapon, and when we finally has the power, it strikes. It breaks the tower and knocks out everyone besides its Celestis warriors, who keep it busy until the others are back on their feet. And as it starts to look impossible, Zero takes Rashaan's Vial of Time and throws it at the Wheel of Strife. Due to Zero's actions, Aferol himself appears and tells Rashaan a broken deal has its price. He then sends his underlings through his portal before giving his attention back to us. He gets ready to attack, and as it flies, Scar drops into the front. Rashaan and Aferol then have a conversation about their past together before snapping back to reality where Gal takes the hit. Gal, at the brink of death, awakes in Zale and Valere, an unknown power, letting them fly to the Elder Mist in no time. Gal asks and receives his flask of borrowed time, which lets him feel fit as long as he stays focused on the task, but it will run out when he finishes it. The Elder Mist shows him his stops on the way to finish. With the flying being momentarily, we go back to the ship and sail to the first location. At the Skyward Shrine bridge with no bridge, Valere remembers the Elder Mist from the beginning of the game. Past the bridge we find our way to Cloud Kingdom. It's the home of the giants and more importantly they hold a council. I also get my first co-op bound achievement by letting the giant lift both legs. In front of the council, Gal manages to convince them that he is able to awaken and brand the sleeper by performing a ritual involving the elements to create a giant loaf of bread, just so all the others get granted access to the Sea of Stars. They accept, and so we split up into 4 groups. Gal is getting Magmount for help, Zale is getting Wind, Valere is defeating the lava monster in the volcano, and Zera goes back to the Sea of Nightmares to get a scale of Hydralion. And in Mirth, the villagers grow the crops as Rashaan helps out where he can. In the end, everyone gathers at the volcano and spectates Regal bakes a fresh loaf of bread, and when it's done, he sends over the smell with the wind. Garl then names the sleeper Wentworth and wishes for a ride to Mooncradle to be buried under the celestial willow. With his deed done, the flask for a time runs out and he passes away. In the following days, Luana and Solon have slightly awoken inside Valere and Zale, granting them their ultimate abilities. We also make our way to the council to receive access to the Sea of Stars. They give it to each one and open a portal in the middle of the map. After wandering through a cave, I finally set sail. I arrive in a high technology building where I run into a security robot which I break into pieces. Afterwards Zira shows who she truly is and explains how this is her world and how it fell to the Fleshmancer. After breezing through another factory I took a break to fish where I completed my collection and then arrived in Rapine. Zai brings us to her home where she asks her computer to the next logical move. We get told to infiltrate Skybase and deactivate the cloud machine to reconnect the sun with the moon. For us to reach Skybase, we need to use the speedball network, which is unfortunately disabled at the moment, but someone in Cerulean Expanse might be able to help. We first take a look at the building, which turns out to be the Fleshmancer's old workshop, with a curse lingering around it. Cleansing the curse reveals many lost ones around it, and among them we find Beast, who knows about the failsafe for the speedball network at the Sacrosanct Spires. Shana also knows a way of getting him out of this place, so he can come along to help if you get inside the workshop. Zira is able to hack us into this abandoned lab, and as we go to the workshop, we run into Medusa, who is protecting the workbench. So I destroy its face bit by bit. At the workbench, Roshan gets to work, binding Beast's mind with glass, letting them join parties and fulfill his prophecy. With Beast joining, I also unlocked the rest of the combos. At the Sacrosanct Spires, Beast shows his songster magic, destroying the barrier blocking the way in. We also see that birds are watching us and one comes after us in the second tower trying to trap us, but lucky for me, Zero sensed it and dodged it and is able to free us and Verlot, who helps us out with some airstreams. Get to the seat of the Triumvirate and go head to head with them as talking isn't an option. I defeat them and the leader reveals to Roshan that many of them died in order to give him his transformation. Following that, Roshan leaves us, but gives us a copy of himself for help. Defeating them also grants us access to the lookout, where Beast smacks down the battery, activating the speedball network. I immediately make my way into the Skybase and battle my way all the way to the top, where Zero spots Catalyst at the end of the hallway. It notices us as well and closes the doors on us. I make my way through both doors by destroying the turrets and reach the Catalyst, which now has 6 turrets. Destroying them all lets me take a core, and after a couple of hits it switches its mode, giving me the control panel access. Zero and now Beast are able to hack into its system, so when its AI core fell out, we took it with us to the kids in the Clockwork Castle. They work on it over the next couple of days, and when I return they build a machine that fuses them into a robot, becoming artificial. As Artie, they are able to leave and return with us to the Skybase, hacking into the system in no time, deactivating the cloud machine. With the sun shining again, our path to dive down to the moon opens up. In this abyss I get attacked by tentacles. Fighting those off makes the monster drop the platform, bringing the moon into the picture before the Dweller of Dread blocks the vision. Even without the power of the eclipse deep in this abyss, it was possible to defeat and cleanse them, letting the moon rise and shine again. With this, Luana and Solon have fully awakened inside them, enabling me to fly. So I did some backtracking where I found 2 bosses which I left for later. Then I went back to Murph where I built a spa, a shop and a fishing hut completed. After that I went to the Fleshmancer's lair, where the first hurdle was a sergeant using a chainsaw with the name LeJac. As I beat him up he gets bigger like Hulk, but isn't a problem. Deeper in I walked into a room and everything got kinda odd. I ran through different locations before hitting a crystal which revealed we were unconscious because of the soul curator, who is also the reason behind the people of this world being cyborgs. We proceed to chase him for a while and reach the portal room where instead of fighting himself he spawns a knight. After defeating him, Zero has enough of his running and stabs him, finishing him off. Trying to figure out how to destroy the portal, Violet appears and does it for us, leaving me just with the Fleshmancer who lays just ahead. On the roof he stands, looking into the eclipse. With no need to fight us, he sends out his strongest lieutenant. Like every other fight at this point in the game, it wasn't too bad. Second phase didn't change much besides the atmosphere, but I beat her out of her second form pretty quickly. Fleshmancer reappears to take her out himself, and before another fight breaks out, Roshan appears and takes him with him. Then they start feeling a world eater coming. They make their way out to defeat it, in an epic bullet hell minigame? After the credits we see a shrine that Deeks asks Artie to build, then it fades over to a stone formation which I am told to check out. So I load back into the game and make my way to the stone formation. Each one is showing me a vision of different characters, not saying much about what to do, so I will fill this gap. There's Myrna, who just needs all the rainbow conches of the game. Zare needs the completion of 5 Celestic Shrines and acquire his ultimate weapon. Beast then wants to become a champion. Zerai wants revenge on an old traitor. And there is Duke Ventry, whom we are going to free. And for Roshan we need to collect his ultimate weapon as well. I started off with Beast in the newly built Colosseum in Brisk, where I got the bronze and silver rank to hit the halfway point for that. And then I remembered that I would be able to challenge the Watchmaker to a game of wheels when I have defeated all the wheels champions, so I gave her a wizard and defeated her in her own game. From there I sailed to Zerai's world and make my way through a Cerulean expanse where I find the area of the traitor. In this area I find a very important relic for the rest of the game, the Artful Gambit. This turns the game into hard mode, reducing my health by 95% and making enemies invisible while casting. In exchange, timed blocks are also reduced to 1 damage and timed attacks to double damage. It also has an achievement bound to it, having me defeat 10 bosses whilst equipped. I also tried a couple of attempts on Gun Goddess, but having now the reason why I delayed bosses, I quickly turned my back on her and went to one of the other bosses. When I backtracked after learning to fly, I cleared all the souls, the shrines, which led me to the store. Behind it I find the Eldermist, who is a little harder with the relic and his weapon not breaking. But defeating him a second time grants me the ultimate weapons for the warriors and finishes off Zale's vision. The other thing I did was that I went through the Carrier dungeons, where I found a beast they locked away, which is just a reskin of the very first boss, but also gives me Roshan's ultimate weapon and a vision. Then I find Rumaya's secret passage, which guides to Rumaya's journal that I give to Duke, who is just out of the door, and when he reads it, it looks like his handwriting and reminds him of an old estate he would like to see again. With the flame, the ferryman brings me to a half-sunken tower where I find Rumaya and challenge her to a duel for Duke's freedom. She quickly gives up again and gives me locket. Return the locket to Duke sets him free. Afterwards I went and got the last couple rainbow conches and delivered them to Mira, which is letting her rock glow as well. The last item is a rainbow star, which also lets me finish Teek's storybook, and when I listened to all her stories I got another achievement. Continuing to finish tasks, I returned to Brisk for the top ranks of the Colosseum with Beast. First we achieved gold by defeating Sylgan and unlocking a champion rank. We fight against Crustalian, a giant crab with cannons and the ability to spawn chests. This challenge kindly lets me use all characters, letting me get through this fight. The last thing left was the Gun Goddess, and with the first attempt on a new day I got it done, giving Zerai her revenge, her ultimate weapon, and most importantly I got the last vision. Back at the stones I'm able to activate the contraption. The alchemist gave Beast the task of taking Gal's place. With some help Beast succeeds in replacing Gal, letting him return to life. I dig out Beast from Gal's grave before catching up at the campfire where they reconnected at first. Now in the full group, Gal mentions he made a wish to eat at a golden pelican, and to achieve it he got a special fishing hook, where I reel up a temple entrance. I get the final chest and find a body of water with the owner and the cook of the golden pelican, Chef Bass. Gal explains the situation and we get a gilded invitation. With it we go back to the Golden Pelican and get Gal to feast all his friends. After the dinner I got a recipe and the last quiz sheet I needed. Those quiz sheets aren't really important, it's just an underground quiz show about the lore of the game, but it gives me an achievement when I do them all. Whilst I was cooking everything I noticed I was missing something, so I checked the list and went and bought it and finished the achievement as well. Besides the 2 final achievements, I got a co-op once left, so I plugged in my controller, hoping it will work, and for some reason my controller works for 2 additional players, so I quickly checked off Fishing Trip, Down Low, Me-Day, as well as Team and Turtle Power. So back to the top of the Fleshmancer's lair, where Gal steps up before he can leave. Noticing someone changed the timeline, he decides to fight us himself. He made sure I suffered for a while before I started to eat team healing food to keep me in and put him on his knees. After defeating the World Eater again, I watched a new post-credit scene in which Garl travels by dragon to the childhood hideout and meets up with the warriors. My Artful Gambit counter was only up to 6, and with no bosses left I went into a new game plus and just ran from boss to boss to finish all the Sea of Stars achievements.
You dare enter Orlan?
Throes of the Watchmaker got added as a free DLC with 6 more achievements, so I booted up my save from before the Flashmancer fight and went on the ship. There we get to know that Tinefin isn't his name, but a pocket watch with the name would change that, and listening to Teeks we asked the Watchmaker. They are nice enough to help as long as I defeated the Wheeler of Throes that is hiding in the clock. So together with the pirate crew and Artie, just the 2 warriors are allowed in. The Watchmaker then gives Artie a package to open when the time is right and gives me a device to shrink which I need to enter the clock but also for other areas. I then quickly make my way to the town where my presence is already noticed. Whilst fighting Piv and Poof, I realized Lester's powers have no effect, so I lose the fight and my magic fabrics before I get thrown into prison by an elephant. In prison, Artie opens the package, finding something for himself, but as a package for Fardash as Vulture breaks out the prison. Artie then shoots down the door and becomes a playable character. With him I then make my way to rescue Valere and Zale as well as the 3rd person. The unknown person teaches Zale to be a juggler and Valere to be an acrobat since the circus flair is important to fight. Defeating all the coming guards lets us escape. Outside we learn the new person's father, a train conductor who lost his keys and his train, but luckily the package Artie had for him got another key, so I just needed to find his train in the rail jungle. Before going after the train, I checked out the town, finding some wheels players and some puzzles that I couldn't do. Most importantly, I found 3 tests, from which I could only do 1 yet. The test of strength, where I jump through hoops to get a gold medal. Whilst going through the rail jungle, I find a combo scroll and Artie learns a new skill via level up. Then arrive at the cliff and see some train tracks, where jumping down led to being chased by the train, to the point where Vulture decides to suplex it. When the train was brought back to town, I used Artie's new skill to earn gold in the test of accuracy, before hearing an announcement outside of the Narcissus King who invites us to the Ivory Towers. In the basement of the main building, I find a pile of junk from which Artie builds a robot letting me move halves at rails to get through the entire area. So I went from tower to tower solving puzzles after hearing that Zale should be a narcissist by his cop, which is his living insecurity. When I finally reach the main building, I find the mirror room with the king and the puppeteer, who announces the fight to start. In this fight his mirrors charge up, and when they are fully charged let him use his ultimate. However, by hitting the crank he moves the spotlight away from them, stopping them from charging up further. In the end Artie shoots him down and Zale finishes him off with a kick. The town is now rainy and dark. Whilst trying to figure out what happened, the fiery queen returns, showing a reckless side towards Valere, who loses her cool in this situation. Before chasing after the copy, I used Zale's skill he learned to earn myself the last gold medal in this test of balance. With the aliens out the way, it was time to check the wolf rock for the copycat. In the case of the mountain, I find another combo scroll as well as to find a recipe for me to cook at the next campfire. Not long after, Valere chases after a copycat. After a while I find the arena where the puppeteer announces the next show, as the others drop in. Beginning the fight as a 3v1, to the point at which Valere feels the need to 1v1 her and beats her, overcoming her primal and loose-minded self. With both copycats down, I make my way to the big top. At the entrance I take revenge for getting put in prison on the elephant and make my way inside where Piffin Poofs spread balloons with tickets for me to get. I started on the left and then got the tickets from the right to activate the cannon on the left, where I got a level up and learned the final combo and got more tickets. Outside the room I activated the hand for the main room. With another cannon on the right I get more tickets and activate the other hand. Activating the hands lets me reach the jesters, which I fight again, but this time I deal damage and jumping into the mech doesn't save them. After going through 2 more areas for tickets, I can reach the top, where the puppeteer is waiting. The show brings me on top of a giant wheels table, where I destroy multiple figures, and when I win, she announces the main act, revealing the Dueler of Scourge. I don't deal damage with my circus acts, and as they realize that, they defeat the negative faults and gain the Celestial's powers back. As I start hitting the Dueler again, Artie builds our own mech out of the remains, and I engage in a fist fight in which I quickly fill the bar and win. The DLC story is done, but I have a little cleanup to do. During my adventures I collected 10 of 12 time runes through different methods, one of them beating all the wheel slams in town. Fortunately, the last 2 runes I needed were in town. I quickly placed them in the center of the town, revealing a staircase to a contraption. Galdan appears and sends everyone away. He then begins a speech and slowly starts levitating, revealing himself as the Ovate of Hope, which is a higher being just like the Watchmaker. Then a vision starts playing, showing the transformed traitors talking about something big happening soon. This might be the obvious connection to the messenger, but I don't know, I still haven't played it. But I can tell you with certainty I now have all the achievements in Sea of Stars and Throes of the Watchmaker.